Almost 2 years ago, I left the south of France to start a new teaching job in Paris. Even though I had many wonderful adventures, I was ready to leave. I felt trapped by the small town I had spent some lockdowns in. I wasn't sure how I would feel coming back to Perpignan, but when I saw the Canigou mountain as we approached the train station, I felt like I was coming home. I was happy to move to Paris because I thought I could meet people more easily and there was more things to do. But after a dark winter of stress, anxiety, and sadness, I was happy to get some sunlight. What's special about this region is that it's nestled between the Mediterranean Sea and the Pyrenees Mountains. On day 2 in the south, I hopped on a train and took a quick trip to a seaside village to start a long walk along the coast. I spent my whole afternoon hiking 11 miles from Banyus-sur-Mer to Collioure on the Côte Vermeille. In late February and early March, most of the French go skiing. Because I visited during off-peak season, I had the vines, the waves, and the wind all to myself for several hours. In the winter in Paris, it gets dark early, it's cold and gray, and it's hard to leave the house. I was amazed how I could just be outside and walk for hours and hours and have so much energy just because the sky is blue and there's waves and water and nature around me. Promotional posters to visit Perpignan boast that it gets 300 days of sunshine per year. Can you guess how many Paris gets? About half that. In addition to being one of the sunniest places in France, it's also one of the windiest. This is Cap Béar, a cape where you can see La Tramontane wind blowing through my hair. As if there weren't already enough reasons to love this trail, the views of the seaside towns is one of them, especially when you can see the Albert Mountains going into the sea. I'll never get tired of the charm of colorful buildings in the south of France. Maybe it's because all of the farmland in the area where I grew up is flat, that I get so excited when I see vineyards on the sides of hills like this. It was too early to see some leaves growing on the grapevines, but I did glimpse some cherry blossom trees. There was no spectacular sunset, but it was still a beautiful late winter's day. I reached my favorite town of Collioure at dusk and didn't have time to explore the streets, but I did enjoy watching the arrival of Blue Hour on the beach and having a local meal at one of the restaurants. Returning back to this region allowed me to visit places that I had on my bucket list that I never got around to when I lived there. One of those places is La Forteresse de Sals. This military fortress, located on the old French-Spanish border, was used to house soldiers and their horses. Like many other watchtowers and fortresses in the region, this one was strategically located so that the Spanish could keep a close eye on the French. I arrived just in time to take a guided tour, which I would highly recommend so that the experts can tell you all about the history of this place. I couldn't leave the Pyrénées-Orientales without actually taking a trip into the Pyrenees, so I hopped on a €1 bus to a small village and walked up this hill to the Abbey sanctuary of spirituality and serenity in the middle of the mountains that was founded over 1,000 years ago. And then of course I had to have a little hike, and I enjoyed some snow, which I had not seen at all this winter, and just enjoyed my time alone in the peace and the quiet of nature. As a teacher who lives in a big city, I feel like I'm always surrounded by children and teens talking, motorcycles zooming by, so it was really, really nice just to have this quiet time. I left Perpignan feeling revitalized. It turns out some nature, time alone, sunshine, and southern French charm was just what I needed after a long, dark winter.